Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the player ranked #1 in the world by Dark. We have the final boss. It's Dark. Up against the most entertaining Protoss out there right now, in my opinion. In the blue, it is Creator. A best of 3 Protoss versus Zerg, and honestly, an entirely unpredictable matchup. In today's day and age, the only thing I can really predict out of this matchup is me begging you for likes, and if you haven't made it there yet, subscribes. And Jimmy, what are we? 1,349 likes on this video, on this series, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, but thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. Post-youth. Both our players approaching that, the audience almost certainly so, but map number 1 is where we start things off in Creator. Already off to a creative start with a Robo and a Warp Prism in Protoss versus Zerg. Yes, this map means you can defend your natural with minimal effort because your natural is a pocket base with some gold minerals behind the main. But at the same time, what does he intend with this? Is this just the more expensive, more dramatic version of a Oracle Harass on the mineral line? As there's only going to be a couple. It's 1 gate Robo Warp Prism. So, gonna get a solid from me. As it's a single Adept. I mean, he's got more gates finishing up. He's got a Twilight on the way behind. Looks like he's going to bait Dark into Roaches and then try to hit him with some Immortals. But, warping in a second Adept. This seems like the best possible way to get any sort of pressure on while still getting Immortals out as quickly as possible. But the Queens are not going to be dealing with it. Dark has a great spread of Overlords to make sure that nothing is going to be approaching without the Queens at least knowing about it. And zoning out the Prism for now. But this is not the main brunt of the attack. We have a Twilight Council researching charge. We have +1 ground weapons on the way, and we have an Overlord wandering in, spotting the Robo, and I think Dark is going to have a very good idea with the amount of gateways being added on, the lack of a third base. I'm assuming he's capable of basic math, and that means shenanigans are indeed afoot, and it's up to him to sweep them away. Couple of Depths, Spore Crawler moving into position, and Creator gets a drone. Dark at 44 drones, building 1 more, but I don't think we're going to see too many past that, as now he needs units. This is an old school style, but it still checks out. A bunch of Immortals, a Prism, and a 2-base timing. Very parting-esque. Now, it's not force fields in this case, though. I think he has a sentry. Actually, you know what? It may just be Immortal Sentry. You can't lose the Prism. He cannot afford to be rebuilding that Prism, no matter how much the Queens dislike it. Honestly, the Queens don't really like anyone, but not even themselves. What was that? Sorry. No. But Immortal Sentry, doing his best parting impression here. The Soul Train. It's just a build straight out of the heart of the Swarm, and for those wondering why it's called the Soul Train, no, that isn't a play on where they're currently playing this tournament in Seoul, Korea, but instead, Parting, when asked why this build worked so well for him back in Heart of the Swarm, and almost no other players were able to pull it off, it's because he said he pours so much soul into his builds. Which, make of that what you will, but that's the level of strategical quantification that I expect from the big boy himself. We'll see if Creator has something a bit more particular in mind, but here we go. +1 ground weapons, a whole bunch of sentries, 7 sentries and counting, with plenty of energy for force field. Ravagers are required. Dark has none. He has no Ravagers to deal with this. Hallucinated Archon. I am flabbergasted that we see not a single Ravager with this army, though the only real range damage here is the Immortals. The sentries can tickle. There's a single Stalker, but mostly the charge lots are waiting for their moment. There's the force fields. Yeah, and 3 Ravagers on the way. Very odd that Dark didn't have any ready before this, but he's got 17 Banelings. And Creator moving in slowly, another wave of force field. The hallucinated Archon actually goes through it, which is a very odd scenario. But he's locking things out, trying to exhaust the Banelings. The Charge Lot's looking for an opportunity to the north. The Queens are tanking the damage. Another wave of force field starting to break through. The Charge Lot's trying to connect with the Zealots. The Queens will be cut down. And it looks like Creator is just slicing and dicing his way through Dark's army. The lack of Ravagers to start, an egregious mistake. And now Creator is just sitting right in between his natural and his main force fields, the ramp, to try to isolate the army. And even if he takes it down, there's not enough Roaches and Ravagers here. And Creator just walks up and step by step cuts him down. The Immortals are blasting through. Dark GGs as the corrosive miles land. And Creator just walks up and dunks on Dark in game 1. Wow, I certainly didn't expect to start this series off like that. But Creator came ready to play, and it seems like Dark was kind of playing around. What? You can't just do an Immortal Sentry build, walk up and kill him. Possibly the last Zerg in the GSL. Creator, you're gonna get sentries nerfed again. You can't just do that. Well, here we are. Going into game 2. Just like that. Feels like we just got done with the introduction, but Creator pulling one of the older builds, but it still checks out. And Dark down again. It is very odd. Like, I'm not sure if he saw the sentry count at any point. He may have been assuming it was like Immortal Adept or Immortal Charge Lot, which is a relatively common build. The Immortal Sentry is usually not used as often because Zergs always have Ravagers. They just do. Alright, it's almost every composition. So Creator leaning on those force fields. And they're enough to support him. Yeah, I really think Dark convinced himself it was that big gateway flood of units looking to bash down the door, rather than systematically dismantle it. And that first couple waves of force field made it so Creator's momentum was too great. Now he's reverting to something a bit more predictable. The Stargate. Side Delta, our most accepted of maps, probably the most common, alongside Ocean Bowl. We see in almost every single matchup across the board, including mirror matchups. It is, if you just cover up the name and you look at the layout of the bases, about as standard as you get. You got your options for 3rd and 4th bases. They're both relatively defensible. You have a ramp to the natural, which is important for Terran and Protoss to be able to just defend in the early game. But having options for 3rd and 4th gives Zerg, makes it less likely they're going to be contained on one side of the map. So the Terrans and Protoss like having a defensible first 2 bases, and the Zergs like having options for their 3rd. And then from there, there's plenty of space to either try to find an open field fight or use a choke point. So it's the middle ground of maps. It doesn't commit to anything, but that makes everyone happy. 3rd base on the way. It's going to be your triple Oracle into probably a Shady Bunch build with 4 or 5 Adepts shading across, just making sure to keep the Zerg honest. It's that old school style as well. The old at this point, but keeping the Zerg economy in check is always a worthy goal. And Adepts and Oracles are so mobile that Zerg has to make units to deal with it. But the units that Creator makes don't have to commit. So you have to have enough Zerglings and Queens to deal with 3 Oracles and 4 or 5 Adepts. But at the same time, you're not necessarily going to be able to kill them. So that's how you limit the economy without committing too much. Lair on the way. somewhat early for Dark, before any sort of other tech, before Roach Warren, before an Evo Chamber. So, interested in getting things together. The Oracles looking around with the Queens. Throwing their knitting needles out quickly. There's the Roach Warren. Here's the Shady Bunch. We've got 6 Adepts with this complement. And... well, the first Queens. Queens moving to defend the Oracles. Zerglings moving to defend the Adept Shades, but Creator, using it well, drops the Revelation and takes out Creep Tumors. Creator is such a dynamic player, but in the sense of, well, actually, he may complete. There's no location, well, I guess this area by the 3rd, but like on Oceanborn, there's a area you can jam the Adepts in. Up close and personal to the mineral line. That makes it almost impossible for Zerglings to get to a good surface area. Not as much here. So, not quite as dangerous, but still keeping control. But Creator is an incredibly emotional player. Alright. He is well known for, well, if you remember, not too many tournaments ago, there was a very awkward moment near the end of a game that he was losing, where he apparently kicked the monitor or kicked his computer while like freaking out in the last game of the series and disconnected it, like either the monitor cable or the internet cable, and ended up losing. I believe it was to Gumiho. But here is these are all within 30 seconds of Creator winning. So just keep that in your imagination. As Creator, very invested. He's making up for Protoss's lack of ability to scream by constantly doing so himself. And I think that contributes to sometimes the most dramatic plays and heartbreaking failures, thus making him one of the most entertaining players to watch. And so far, he's playing just ridiculously well. He's kept control. Game 1, just a walkover against... probably the best Zerg in Korea. And you know what? The best Zerg in Korea. And if you take Cyril away, the world. And right now, the world has done so, to an extent. And here we go. It's going to be that blink +1 timing. And right now, Dark, 74 workers. Creator the same, 4th base on the way for Creator. Dark's already got his up, but more gates, and he's filling in the rest. Dark has opted for Hydralisks and a quick hive, but he doesn't even have a lurker den. So, rushing out Vipers in this case? Did he spot the Robo Bay? Oh yeah, he did. He spotted double Robo Bay, which, don't ask me to say that sentence 5 times fast, but double Robo Bay. No. Lurker den now, but Vipers going to be at a premium. And Dark builds as many as he can before a slight supply block. 2 Vipers to yank out those Colossi with their spindly legs from the army composition and knock them down before they can start roasting the Hydras and Lings. Extended thermal lance. Double Robo Colossus. Quite a commitment from Creator, considering it's already been scouted. I don't think he's anticipating how quick this hive is. Though he's seen the hive, so he should be anticipating it at this stage. In fact, he has an observer in position between the bases, so he can see all of the tech. I think he's just going to try to get the damage done, ideally, before Dark is able to get a unit composition together to counter it. But the Vipers are already on the field. They're gathering energy. They should have 1, if not 2, abducts apiece, momentarily. So, as long as Dark is able to get his abducts in a row, it shouldn't be too difficult to defend against the Colossi. And here they are. Adrenal glands, no, but Hydra count and Lurkers on the field, though they don't have range. There's no easy counters to the Vipers. This time around, Creator's the one left lacking in army composition. 1 Colossus down, a second one. Oh wait, he saved it with the Warp Prism at the back. And it's going to contribute a lot to keeping this army from getting completely overrun. But still, well, that second Colossus surviving helps a bit. But he just goes for the Prism, and it goes down with the Colossus, which solves both problems. And Dark is able to claim all of it. Yeah. With a vengeance here, the final boss, not willing to go down without a decisive fight. The stasis, a bit uncomfortable here. Second stasis, lurkers in an awkward spot, but they have range now. They don't yet have the adaptive talons for the quick burrow, but they're working on it. And Creator lost any sort of ability to stay out on the map. Now, nobody's told Creator that, it seems, as his stalkers are in the middle of everything. An Immortal back at home. There's a stasis. Oh, if that stasis completes. The stalkers are still fighting against reinforcements. But Dark is now on the 4th base. Disruptor shots come out. He works with what he has. Another Nidus. The Nidus at the natural was shut down. The Queen's still fighting against the Stalkers. Stalkers try to come back, but Dark has completely overrun this base. The 4th base will not survive. Dark of 60 supply. Reinforcing Nidus to make sure none of the lurkers are going to get caught. Creator going into a base trade. But I do not have high hopes for the outcome. Most of Creator's army is on the other side of the map. He's going to try to work. He's going for the Nidus network, which is certainly one way of doing it. And now Dark has network connectivity problems, but thankfully he got all of his packets through in time. And that means GG, Dark strikes back in game 2. And just like that, we're all tied up. 1-1. Wow. Creator, a decisive player. I think the first game, he just did his build and didn't even bother worrying about what Dark was doing. Game 2, he did the same thing, but Dark was ready. So, we'll see Creator in Game 3, staying with the playbook. If you get your robo-base scouted that early, and you see they have a hive, much like Dark not building Ravagers in Game 1, Creator not acknowledging that Dark could easily dismantle the Colossi feels like a either a lack of respect or a lack of foresight at that stage of the game. He almost microed his way out of it with the Prism, but Dark with Vipers and Lurkers, good luck. So a dramatic series, but not a particularly long one so far, as we go into Oceanborn. I also want to point out how decisive the games have ended. Dark takes an advantage, runs with it, wins in a couple minutes. Same with Creator, even more quickly. So, both of them with such committed strategies. I really would have liked to see that game play out a little longer. Like if Creator backs off and goes towards Templar, instead of committing to an ill-fated attack. I think there's a lot of potential for back and forth there, because Creator had a 4th base. He was going on 5. So, as long as he has some army to defend it, but it crumbled too quickly. Stargate. Zergling speed. The huge. Oracle. Adept gonna tap on the hatchery. I do appreciate. Hero's been using a pylon wall in order to wall off against Zerg lately, much to my dismay. And I think to Hero's dismay, considering how many times it just ends up being a game-losing mistake. But good to see Creator sticking with conventional wisdom. And not that it's been tested, but just throwing that out there. Just any opportunity for me to criticize players who would probably beat me with one hand tied behind their back after drinking 3 bottles of soju, so. But that's what I'm here for. Couple of depths. against the Zerglings. Queens have not been too much of a participant in any game so far. A little surprising, because Queens, I guess in game 1, they were pulled into the fray, but Dark has a tendency to make those Queens the centerpiece of many of his strategies. Feeling a little bit more like the supporting cast right now, at the very least. Stalker, Adept warped in. Still no tech committed to, though he does have the quick gases 3 and 4, so we should see a Twilight, and then a Forge. Oracle, nice micro with the Queens. Oh, he's gonna go for, oh, what a save! Yeah, and don't come back! Brenda, he still got 3 kills. He did a pretty good job. I think it's a robot, not a he. That's not really my point, Brenda. What did we say? Respect your elders. Twilight with blink and +1 lair completed. The Hive finishing so quickly gave Dark a wide array of options last time. But +1 melee is the choice here. Oracle's pushed away again. Zergling's going for the surround. We'll get the wraparound, but the pre-shade is there. Loses 2 adepts. The rest pretty banged up. Oracle's getting what they can. Coming around for more, but Dark has a zoning spore there. Good position, but that actually leaves an opportunity. Yeah, 4 kills. Doing a good job of keeping up on things. And Dark only had 55 drones against 61 probes. So he's looking to even the gap here. Both players pumping out workers. Gateways 3 and 4 completed. More on the way. Creator looking for a 4th base. Oracle's coming around again. Queen's there to receive him. Zergling sharking around, confirming indeed this is going to be Blink Stalkers. And therefore, these Hydras are a worthy investment. 8 Hydras on the way. Groovy spawns for the range. No, I'm sorry. Baneling Nest in production. No infestation pit yet. Just kind of expecting to see one rather soon. Robo-bait. Robo-bait for Creator yet again. Now the Queens. Not. Well, they hold it together. Blink Stalker pressure looking quite strong here. Until the Hydra count is into solid double digits, they can easily get picked off by the Blink Stalkers. Especially before range and without any cover from the Zerglings. But that number quickly, having an equal amount of Hydras to Stalkers with any Zerglings in front, those Stalkers really do have to be careful. A couple of Overlords go down, another one pops up immediately. He's searching for stasis, but he doesn't actually find the one on the field. The Zerglings running past in order to try to trigger any stasis wards. And Disruptors first. That's a kind of a crazy choice in general, especially since he knows we haven't seen this style for quite a while. He's actually doing a mixed bag. The variety pack of the Robo-Bay. He's adapted. And this time around, Dark has not rushed into Hive. I think anticipating a much more drawn-out kind of Blink Stalker face. Has he scouted the Robo-Bay? Very simply, this time he hasn't scouted the Robo-Bay. And what he doesn't know can certainly hurt him. Yeah, double Colossus, that single Ruptor, extended Thermal Lance has... Oh, Creator sees the lair. The Creator working with all the information now. He sees there is no Hive, which means Colossi are a much more viable counter to the Hydraling composition. And so he can just stay... Oh my, such slick blinks. The Colossus is spotted. We're going to see Infestation Pit yesterday. All right. Dark with so many Banelings. There's no way he's breaking through this. There's staggered stasis. It looks like Dark just wants to... He knows that his hive is so late. He might as well just go, but there's so many stasis. He's already... Well, they're triggered with minimal effect. Disruptor shot finds nothing, but the force fields are good, and there's no Ravagers. It isn't gonna happen. Dark, boxed out at every turn. There's the infestation pit of shame. All right. Building an infestation pit after that fight is clearly demonstrating that Dark's attempt has failed. And now, well, these two banelings are still a threat. I can't believe he got any kills, but just the one. It's still a long way off a hive. Creator actually has more supply. He's going to have Colossi, Archons. He's building Immortals. He's going to have a great army. Working on +3. And it's Hydraling Bane out of Dark, but with an inferior economy. Changeling not fooling anyone. So, Dark needs to get to Hive, but Creator spots the Hive timing. He still has that Observer. Ooh, the Stalkers. Here come the Oracles, try to help out. Cooldown and Blank always feels too long. Takes out one of the Obs. But this Observer spotting everything is so important. Gives Creator all the info he needs to know when he can and when he cannot attack. Or Prism on the way. Creator interested in putting together a decisive timing to ideally end the game. Lurker Den is completing for Dark. Warp Prism can reinforce, but Creator has 2k in the bank right now. Some gas as well. Disruptor shot thrown out. Decent connection on the Hydras. Huge clutch of Lings coming to the back. Lings not known as the counter to Colossi, but the quality is quantity. And the Banelings roll in. The Colossi brought low. And Dark cleans the army up. Sweeps it away from either side. And Dark survives. And actually has enough left over for a potential counter attack. At least enough to threaten, because now Dark has the supply lead. He builds another round of drones. He's got the Hive done, and he did all that before Hive Tech. He caught Creator from a bad angle. He's acutely aware of the weaknesses of that army composition and takes full advantage. Sees Creator going for another base. Probe actually saved. There's still a War Prism. Dark didn't have the army, so Hydraling Bane on the open field with some creep to work with is much more effective than Hydraling Bane attacking into an entrenched position. So we are seeing that demonstrated here. 10 Lurkers in production. Storm and Immortals on the way as Creator has smoothly transitioned into a more hardy composition. Immortals, Archons with Storm have a lot more ability to take a open field fight than Colossi. Oh, the War Prism flies right over, but there's nothing to deal with it. The Zerglings, +2 melee attack, +1 ranged attack is the extent of the upgrades. War Prism, still alive, but just barely. Second Warp Prism, actually, from Creator. He's got Observer speed on the way, 2 Nexi in production. So Creator still keeping his options open and expanding them simultaneously. Really love how Creator's playing despite the ill-fated attack. It wasn't like that lost him the game, but instead it was a good attempt at a good timing. Dark just had enough to deal with it. Yeah, multiple prisms waiting for their opportunity. Night is on the way. Dark's version of the same thing. The creep spread is... it's minimal at this stage, as the Lurker... not the Lurker, the Queen count has been somewhat damaged. Only 4 left. And injects are at a premium. Fleet Beacon, as well as a second Star Gate. As he's working up towards that highest tech composition, eventually the Lurker count can be far too difficult to deal with. And you need things like carriers or Tempests. Maybe even a mothership to help out. Creator locking it down. Nidus at the natural, but the cannon won't kill it in time, but the Immortal certainly helps. And that'll be dealt with, and that idea is revealed. Some more Banelings. Did not go great. An Observer in the main will have an opportunity to slap down a Nidus. Jam it into the corner. Both sides have massive economies now. Colossus. Heard you was talking shit. Overseer out of there. Couple Zerglings at the natural, but Creator on 93 probes, which is actually too many. Nidus working its way into the main. Lurkers protecting some of the bases. He does come back to defend. He should be able to get the Nidus. Here we are. But here comes Dark. A single Immortal caught out in the center of everything. Another Nidus at the front. Partially just a force field. And the Lurkers just slicing through all the defense. Banelings roll in. The Stalkers tank it all. Banelings rolling in from the south as well. Oh my god, the Lurker count is massive. 27 Lurkers out of Dark. And Creator trying to blunt the effects, but Dark is closing in. 10 probes, 12, 16. Creator can afford to lose some, but the numbers are getting too damn high. 24, 5 probes dead. Lurkers into the natural. Now this is a bit more questionable from Dark, as he's jammed into the smallest possible location. The Immortals are bashing through. There's still a couple storms. He may get the Robos and the Robo-Bay, though, which makes things a lot easier. There is an Overseer. The Nexus is falling quickly. Storm softening a lot of this up. The Nidus is dead. There is no escape for these Lurkers. Creator will clean it up. Dark doesn't get the Nexus, but he does get both Robos and the Robo-Bay. That was a costly fight, though. Dark has lost 21 Lurkers down. He's down to 7. And Creator still has 120 army supply, which includes multiple carriers. The DT cannot see the Lurker, but vice versa. Mothership on the way. Templar caught, but able to get some storms and an Archon merge, so not all is lost. Dark did not have the money in the bank to just rebuild immediately. I think that Nidus into the natural, while he got the tech, the cost in Lurkers was so damn high. Creator coming back to defend. Dark, no stranger to low economy situations. Actually, a recall here to deal with the Nidus. The entire army, that's a very dead Lurker and even more dead Nidus. Yes, there's a metric for that. Ran the reinforcements out of the field, misrallied, but more coming up. That's still a lot of Lurkers. Hydra's underneath. One carrier easily pin cushions all of the interceptors and make it the carrier itself. Knocks it out. The Lurkers, at both players near 200 supply. The armies are just spread over the field. Where's the detection? He goes into a concave of Lurkers, but the only anti-air is Hydras. And that's barely anti-air at all. Immortals, carriers, and Archons. Creator has made his way to, wow, his army value is 3 times, almost 4 times in gas that of Dark. As Dark scrambles to make more Hydras, the Queens are pulled off the line. Vipers for the first time. But Creator has held it together. His army composition and a mothership as a capstone. And Dark with Hydra Ling to deal with this army? I don't know, Kev. He's working on +3 ranged attack. Anything he can get here. There's some Templar in the Prism? No. Yes, one of them. A big storm onto the Hydras. Might get one carrier, but the mothership has arrived. Dark supply plummets. He sees the mothership and Creator with a well-earned 2-1 victory. Wow. Incredibly well played. Dark overcommitted, and Creator kept his cool. It's immensely hard to deal with Lurkers to that extent. Especially when you don't already have this sort of Sky Toss army. That brings us to our bonus game, by the way. Another game I thought that everybody should see that I wanted to work in. Yes, I know that wasn't a clean sweep series, but I think you're going to like this idea. And I've been looking for more ways to slip in mirror matchups. Anyways, do you guys like cannon rushes? Creator versus Hero. Forge is on the way, and Hero... Creator expanding to... well, Hero is walling off the low ground. Creator is on the high ground. Pops the probe out because there's no other space on the ground to deal with this. There's 2 probes here. Another cannon on the way. That will help protect the second pylon. I think he may have enough to actually damage this, though. Like, the probes were pulled quickly enough. The cannon may finish. Chrono boosting out. Trying to get some extra damage. He actually comes home. Will he let the cannon finish? I think so. No? Alright. Well. So here we are. Protoss versus Protoss in all its glory. And all its horror. Steals a gas. So that leaves Creator with just 1. The pylon is dealt with. The second zealot is on the way. And we're off to a standard macro start here in Protoss versus Protoss. Where Creator will be getting his Cyber Core more quickly, which is rarely the sight. Hero is still threatening, well, a whole bunch of different things, but the Zealots are on the way across. A Zealot being chrono boosted out for Hero, who's now getting a Cyber Core of his own. He can build a cannon, though ideally is able to avoid it. Oh, the Nexus slapped down by Creator, because if you have a Cyber Core quicker, you have a decisive advantage in Warp Gate. Though any tech is going to be kind of difficult because Hero stole a second gas. So now here we are. Zealot on Zealot action. A probe dragged in, sliced out. Second Zealot on the way. Hero pulls the probe. Citizen's arrest. May lose a probe himself. Good micro back. It's 2 Zealots to 1, so... but the probes slices down 1, and now he has a second Zealot. 3 probes down. Hero drops down to 23, or 21 versus 23. But Creator does have that second base he's working with, so... And now Hero's decided. Well, we've had first proxy, but have we had second proxy? Which is just another standard Protoss versus Protoss macro build. Creator, looking for shenanigans, but looking in all the wrong places. Robo? Yeah. Stargate is too far of a reach when your opponent already has the ability, like already has 2 bases of economy. But the Robo, the strength of the Robo is just brute force. Or using a War Prism to circumvent the natural. So, while a Stargate wouldn't get the job done, well, Creator's got a Robo of his own. So, 2 Stalkers and a Zealot versus 3 Stalkers and a Shield Battery.
The numbers don't lie! And they spell
okay. Well, that's not working. Another Stalker shows up to the party. So far, Creator's handling this beautifully. This is like peak Creator here today. All these matches played on the same day, by the way. A Sentry trying to chase down and tickle the probe to death. Wow. Oh, that's a fun fact. And then the probe's like, all right, come on, man. You gotta do better than that. The self-esteem of the Sentry, very important. More shield batteries on the way. I don't think he hasn't figured out exactly what this is, but he knows that Hero hasn't expanded, and that's enough. Multiple shield batteries. Immortals on the way for both sides. And round 2, fight. Here we go again. And right now, Hero has 6 to 3 Stalkers and the Immortal. There's no Immortal yet for Creator. Bashes through the battery. Killing the Cyber Core would be quite a win as well. Will he reshield it? He's not going to bother. He's going to wait. Immortals are the most important part. Force field. Oh my god, that force field's beautiful. Not quite enough, but Adepts on the way. There is nothing resembling a wall against Adepts. Creator anticipating that, though. He's building the wall off with pylons on the high ground. He realizes his main weakness before Hero's able to exploit it. He actually lets the Adepts in. He already has Stalkers there. Is that worth it? He could have walled it off. He chose not to. That Immortal Force Field! And, oh, the overcharge! Another shield battery! What a save! By Creator to keep that Immortal alive. The double shield battery! Propping it up as it tries to fall. And Creator with a pixel-perfect defense thus far. Another Adept tries to come in, but he already has units in position to deal with it. Hero's just trickling in the Adepts, and it's not working. And now, Hero's running out of options. He has essentially the same stuff, but less of it. He's got a Prism himself. He's going to try to juggle up to the high ground. Maybe a Force Field juggle, but here comes Creator to respond to it. All right, let the fiesta begin as they both juggle on each other. Immortal's at the back, and battery overcharge is almost off cooldown, though he doesn't have any energy for it. The Force Field on the ramp, but the Immortal's already in range. He can juggle the other Immortal up. The probes are pulled off the line. And Hero killing a lot of these probes, but these units are stuck. He's not going to be able to juggle out in time. And the Warp Prisms on either side. Creator's Immortal's holding. He's trying to get out. Ghetto blinking with the Prism, but Hero not able to break through. The probe count is dead even, but Creator has 2 bases, and that is a almost insurmountable advantage. He's confident that that's enough at this stage here to potentially break through. And that may very well do it. Like, if Creator is able to take out the proxy, another Immortal. Well, this is an awkward scenario. Oh, the Force Fields! He gets it before the Prism can come in and save the day. Force Fields from either side. They don't discriminate. Going for the pylon. Trying to get another Immortal. Hero fighting. He targets the pylon. The Warp Prism died for Creator, which gives an opportunity. He repowers the Robo, but more Immortals are closing in. Creator with 4 of them. And blasting his way through. Should be able to close out the victory. Yes. In an 8-minute game that felt like at least twice that, Creator is able to take on Hero with a cool and collected defense that he also demonstrated against Dar. We're seeing peak Creator here. Creator the Protoss looking like he's playing the best StarCraft 2 of his career. And if you agree, it'd be awesome if you could like and subscribe. And if you got the means of motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon. Or YouTube membership, but yeah, I heard liking and subscribing is still free for now. So, and if you haven't yet checked out the second channel, especially if you're interested in some other games that are up and coming, Winter Gaming here on the YouTubes, it'd be awesome if you could do so. But either way, thank you for watching. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Those are some fun games, I think. I don't know. Good luck, have fun. I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned.